We've been lied to about what an expert really looks like. Think about it. We're taught that an expert is the person on stage that seems to have all the answers to all the problems. But if you look at the most successful people on the planet, the top 1%, I call them. This could be a CEO running a large corporation. This could be an athlete in sports. This could be an entrepreneur or somebody else. They aren't the ones talking. They're the ones asking all the questions. The ones with a notebook and pen. They're the ones investing to learn from others and asking why. What am I missing? Well, today we're celebrating the Ask It All, as we're going to discuss why your ego might be the only thing holding you back from exceeding all of your personal and professional goals. So if you're ready, let's go.
Welcome to the Brian Wright Show, a podcast that transforms the lives and businesses of all entrepreneurs, but dedicated to doctors that own their own practice. And now your host. He's a husband, father of two, founder and CEO of New Patient Group and WrightChat, and a business consultant and speaker for Invisalign, OrthoFi, and others. Brian Wright.
Welcome in the studio, everybody, to another Quick Tips edition. If you're watching over on YouTube, hey there, make sure to thumb this up for us, make some comments, get some chatter going. Audio experience channels out there, make sure to write us a 5-star review on whatever outlet you're watching or listening on out there. Highly appreciated as always. You know, a few seasons ago, I did an episode about a remote monitoring event that I spoke at, and where I also saw a group of doctors on stage called the Expert Panel. And regardless of if you're in our niche or out, you can all relate to what I'm about to say. And if you're watching on YouTube, I said air quotes for a reason, right? And I'm going to explain that reason in a minute. When I said the expert panel, I definitely was using air quotes there, because what we're going to be talking about today, what you need to take away from today, is that expert panel, we're not experts at all. And no matter how many times I try to talk to the corporations inside this profession, and when we help businesses outside our niche, outside of healthcare, I talk to them about the exact same thing is that you have got to rethink the speakers that you have on stage. And speakers out there listening, you have to rethink your talking points and your talk tracks that I'm going to talk about here in just a second. Now, this expert panel, if you will, these so-called experts, you know, what they did on stage and what so many other people do on stage is they acted as if everything was great with their practice and their business was thriving. You know, just do what I do and everything is going to be great. You all are going to just be in this great, wonderful place. And I sat there and I kept waiting for them to bring up things that they brought up to me the day prior. And that's the ironic thing about this is the day prior to them speaking, all of the doctors were at my booth, pulling me aside, telling me what a mess their life was, how their business and practice are all jacked up. They're not taking home what they want. HR headaches. They can't attract the right people. They can't keep the right people. The culture problems, conversion, whatever it is, right? They're all over the place. They have several issues. And think about this. Everybody, they're pulling me aside, telling me on all these things, but none of them, not one of them went up on stage and brought these things up in front of the audience. See, everybody, when you think about this, a true expert is the one that goes up on stage and says, I have problems. My business is not getting enough sales. My practice is not getting enough new patients and signed contracts, treatments, just whatever it may be. And I've also noticed and really wanted to do and move this podcast up to the front of season 9, because I've also noticed a trend. I've been doing a ton of national webinars lately. And no matter how good the feedback is on these webinars, there's a disturbing trend that I've been seeing more than ever before, and it's always been this case, but it is more than ever before, is that very few audience members ask questions during or at the end. Now, they're receiving awesome new ways of doing things, so many new innovative ways of thinking, but somehow they have no questions. And it makes me wonder, are they even taking notes? A lot of times, because how can you learn a bunch of information and have zero questions? There's a saying that I've used for years, be the dumbest person in the room, meaning that I want you to be the one that's asking the questions. Because when you do, guess what? You're asking a question that 20 other audience members want to ask. They're just too scared to do it for whatever reason. Maybe they're shy, but what I think most of the time is that people are too afraid to ask the question because they're afraid what other people are going to think about their question. Be willing to be the dumbest person in the room and ask the question regardless, because what it actually makes you is the expert. 2 lessons I want you to take away from today's Quick Tips edition. Hey everybody, Brian Wright here, and I want you to make 2026 where you become the expert, and I want you to meet with me and ask me as many questions as you can. I'm going to put my own personal Calendly link down in the description below. I do not do this very often. I'm going to allow you to schedule with me one-on-one and ask me anything that's bothering you personally or professionally, your business, your practice, whatever it may be. Meet with me. I'll spend as much time answering all your questions as I can to help you make 2026 and the future beyond your best ever. Hope you take advantage. And now let's get back to today's edition. 1, be very careful who you consider an expert, as so many of you ask your peers for permission to try things, whether it be certain companies out there, outsourced partners, consultants, coaches, digital marketing companies, or whatever. And you also take guidance from those speaking on stage who have massive problems in their own right, in their own practice, in their own business, but they're just not telling you. No different than this group of experts, air quotes again, did on stage at this remote monitoring event. You know, I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I feel so bad for the audience, because here they are giving all this, hey, my practice is perfect, everything's great, just listen to my advice, blah, blah, blah. The audience is sitting there going, okay, I'm going to do it. They leave and go implement it. Meanwhile, the expert panel, they weren't experts at all. If they were, they would have got up there and talked about how many problems they have, and they're the ones asking the questions, investing the money to actually get the problems fixed. That's an expert. And it's unfortunate when you think about it. It really, really is. And not one of them talked about their problems. This is the same way clinicians out there. This is the same way. When you get up on stage and only show your great cases, that's not an expert. What you should do is get up and show the ones that you screwed up on, and that you then invested help or got further CE or read books or further study. You get the point on how it didn't happen again. That's an expert. An expert's not, here's all my perfect cases, but don't show your not so good cases. Also, everybody out there, commit to a lifelong journey of learning. That's an expert. This is what the famous entrepreneurs do to crush their competition. This is why they don't advertise. They spend time being a learner. When you go to webinars, ask questions. Be the one asking questions for those that won't do it. Take notes, and then invest your hard-earned money on how to get those ideas installed into your business, into your practice at the highest level. Those are experts, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this Quick Tips edition, and until next time, we'll see you soon.